Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the Candy Man, the Pickmaster, Mr. Johnny H. John. How are you doing on this wonderful Football Tuesday?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It has been a great day. Have been in a great mood all day. Like, today was a good day. Last night wasn't so good because we got hit with that nasty storm. Lost power at like 10:30 at night. Didn't get it back. Didn't get back.
Didn't even know there was a storm until you said something.
Oh, we had a nasty storm, and apparently tornadoes touched down. Apparently, there's rumor that there's news that a tornado touched down at some point over the night, but we lost power for like 8.5 hours.
A tornado hit, and I didn't land in Oz. That's disappointing.
But, John, it is the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. But you know what else is? Well, it was yesterday. But you know what today is? Basically, what we're celebrating today?
Tuesday the 17th.
Not only that, yesterday, John, was the 1-year anniversary of the Huddle Hub podcast. 1 year.
That's great news.
This is day number 366 of the Huddle Hub podcast. And
we need to cut it back in half.
Oh, no. We're not cutting that in half. We're going to keep moving. That's what we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep growing. Since then, we have earned over 170 followers on TikTok, which is an outstanding statistic, especially when you are gaining like natural followers on social media, because that's a hard thing to do nowadays. You have a lot of troll accounts and bot accounts out there. And when you try and narrow those ones out there and try and get the natural followers on your social media, it is tough to do. And we have 177 to date on TikTok. We have 45 subscribers on the YouTube. Right now, with the Instagram being only 2 weeks old, we have, I think, 10 followers on the Instagram. We have 364,386 views across social media to date. To date today. That is a great statistic. Impressive. And very proud of it. And we are just getting started. Year number 1 in the books, and now it is year number 2, going into year number 2, and we kick things off with this episode, this Tuesday episode of the Huddle Hub podcast. So strap in, hold on tight, because we're going to get rolling. And if you want to help us out by doing so, head over to the Huddle Hub podcast on social media, on X, TikTok, and now on Instagram at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit that follow button on YouTube. You're going to hit the subscribe button. And over on the Twitch channel, if you were watching on YouTube tonight, you're going to hit the follow button there. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. All you need to do is click on the link. It takes you right to that social media that you desire to follow us on. Hopefully it's all of them, but I know not everybody uses all social media. So whatever one you desire, and help us build the Huddle Hub podcast going through the rest of the NFL free agency and offseason and beyond. So, John, let's get into it. First off, free agency is underway. We're in week 2. Technically, week 2 starts tomorrow because Wednesday at 4 p.m. last week was the initial start of free agency, but tampering started on Monday. It's week 2 of free agency. And today, big trade has happened between the Dolphins and the Broncos. The Miami Dolphins have sent wide receiver Jalen Waddle and a 4th-round draft pick to the Denver Broncos. In return, the Dolphins got a 1st, 3rd, and 4th-round draft pick for this year. John, your thoughts on Jalen Waddle heading out to Denver and the Dolphins getting these draft picks?
I think it is a great trade for the Broncos. It gives Bo Nix a very talented receiver to throw to that isn't Cortland Sutton. So he has another weapon. Dolphins get to rebuild, but I'm looking over the Dolphins depth chart as of right now. And if I'm Malik Willis, I'm pissed about this trade. Yeah. Why? The top 3 receivers, Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, and Tutu Atwell, they do not have a solid number 1 receiver on that team. And they have a lot of unproven guys. as well as an unproven quarterback. Like if I'm a Dolphin fan, I get it. They're doing a total rebuild. They're cleaning house. But I better start seeing some type of results in the next couple years, or I'm not going to be happy if I'm a Dolphin fan.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you look at this Dolphin rebuild right now, and the big question is are they going in the right direction? You got rid of Tua, which had to be a right decision because he hasn't done much of anything in Miami. He had what, 1 or 2 full seasons. He's dealt with the injuries. He's dealt with the concussions. His career was basically threatened with the concussions.
That's because of the organization. I blame the Dolphins more than I blame Tua for that. They didn't follow protocol right.
No, and the play calling situation, putting him in those positions, not a good thing. But then you go out and you get rid of Jalen Waddle, who arguably was their number 1 wide receiver because Tyreek is gone.
They got rid of Tyreek, yeah.
Tyreek's gone. You look at it and you just said their wide receiver room. You look at the running back room, they got Devon Achane, which is okay, good. You know, he's a good running back. But I'm with you. If I'm Malik Willis, they just poured all that money into Malik Willis, it looks like he's going to be the guy in week 1 for Miami. Who's he going to really have to throw to? Like you said, he has a wide receiving core who's not fully established. I mean, Devon Achane. That's it. I mean, you could probably say Tutu Atwell, but Tutu Atwell is a slot receiver. He's going to throw to the middle of the field all the time? No.
Oh, Brady did it.
Yeah, Brady did do it, but is Malik Willis a Tom Brady?
I mean, let's be honest, though. Tutu Atwaller never hit 600 yards receiving in his career. He's a complimentary receiver. He's not a solid 1 or 2. So, I mean, they better draft the wide receiver, Miami. I mean, they're loading up on picks. So I would assume wide receiver is going to be one of their focuses on.
Has to be. It has to be. I mean, Tutu, like you said, he hasn't surpassed what you said, 500 yards any time during his career.
2024, 592 yards on 42 catches and no touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. But you got to think of it this way: is in 2024 he was with the Rams, and Puka Nacua was dealing with injuries in 2024. He became the guy for a couple weeks because Puka was down.
Yeah,
I remember that. So that's why his yardage was up in 2024. Other than that, he wouldn't have over 500 yards in 2024.
I mean, their current number 1 receiver, Malik Washington, his best year was last year.
Oh, he had a good year last year.
He had an average year last year. 46 catches,
good average,
317 yards and 3 touchdowns. That wasn't that really spectacular.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I would really start questioning what this franchise is going to do and really, hope that the next couple years this team does something, because right now it's like they're taking, yes, you're in a full rebuild, but it looks like they are taking more steps back than they are forward. That's what it looks like.
That's usually what happens when a team decides, hey, I'm going to get rid of everybody. It's not going to be a pretty year for the Broncos. And I think by now the fans are expecting that. I'm sorry, the Dolphins. The Broncos, on the other hand, like I said, Knicks, Waddle, they have a solid number 1 there. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims there too. He did good. Evan Ingram, their offense is looking really good. J.K. Dobbins. So, I mean, I think the Broncos are definitely going to be the clear favorites to win the AFC West this year again.
They have to. They have to be. Because, I mean, you look at teams, the other teams in this division, like the Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders. I mean, if you had to pick one of those 3 teams, take Denver out of the equation. If you would have to take Kansas City, Las Vegas, or Los Angeles on who's doing better in free agency right now, it would have to be Vegas. Vegas is building that defense up. Yes, they have to concentrate on the offensive side of the ball, but they are taking full advantage right now of defensive players that are available in free agency. They are.
Well,
I mean, they went out and got Nakobe Dean. They are building that defense. And Max Crosby's still there.
I'm not going to say which one, but they're on my list.
Oh, they're on mine
What
too.
we're going to talk about later.
They are on mine too. But speaking of the Chiefs, man, they made a trade earlier yesterday on Monday afternoon with the Jets. The Jets are sending are receiving a 6th round 2027 pick. In return, the Chiefs are getting quarterback Justin Fields. Now, there's a lot of talk about the possibilities of Patrick Mahomes not being ready for the first possible month of the 2026 season. Do you think this is a good replacement for that time period for the Chiefs in Justin Fields coming in?
No, I mean, part of me says yes because, I mean, Justin Fields was on the Jets last year and they were a total disaster. But then again, part of me says no because of what he did on the Jets last year. I feel like if Patrick Mahomes can't go for so many weeks, this is going to be Justin Fields' absolute last chance to prove himself. And he's on a solid team. He's got Ray Rice, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce to throw to, Kenneth Walker III to hand the ball off to, a decent O-line. But to be honest with you, if I were the Chiefs and I was looking for someone who might have to take over for Mahomes for a couple of weeks, I would have called the Niners and say, hey, how can we get Mac Jones? What's it going to cost us to get Mac Jones? That's just me, because Jones played very well when he was forced to play the first, 7-8 games of the season, kept the Niners afloat, played well. But that's just me. But this has got to be Justin Fields' absolute final chance to prove that he can do anything as a starter.
I agree with you, because when you look at the teams that are going to have quarterbacks becoming free agents in 2027, okay, Atlanta with Tua Tagovailoa. Right now, I think Tua is going to start in Atlanta. I think he is. But they are saying in Atlanta that him and Penix are going to have a QB battle. But let's assume for a minute the Falcons are starting Tua, okay? Let's assume for a minute the Vikings are going to be starting Kyler Murray over JJ McCarthy, okay? These are the teams that have their starting quarterbacks becoming free agents in 2027. Falcons, Vikings, Browns, Rams, Bucks, Panthers, Texans. Trying to look down the list real quick here. Those are some of the teams that have their starting quarterbacks becoming free agents. What's that?
Who are the Browns losing?
The Browns are losing Deshaun Watson.
Oh, there's no way Watson starts over Sanders. There's no way.
But there's the assumption that he is going to be the starter in Cleveland in 2026. That's why I'm saying the Browns. But I'm just saying he is the assumed starter in 2026. Not saying that he is. He is the assumed starter. So that is why I put the Browns on this list. But Falcons, Vikings, Browns, Rams, Bucks, Panthers, Texans, okay? Texans should re-sign CJ Stroud. That's going to happen, I think. I think they're going to sign him. They're going to term him. But the other teams are up in question because Tua, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, you don't know if he's going to stick around. Baker Mayfield, you don't know how much longer he's going to play at 31 years old, 9 years into his career. Bryce Young, are the Panthers going to stick with Bryce Young?
I think they do.
There's going to be teams out there that need quarterbacks, and you're not wrong. I think this. I'm with you. I think this is going to be Justin Fields.
There's Young and Stroud are safe. And to be honest with you, seeing how the Vikings and the Falcons were last year at quarterback, I'm not convinced that Murray or McCarthy is the guy in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced that Tua or Penix Jr. are the guy in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm a Michael Penix guy, but he's got to show he can stay healthy and play.
I'm with you, though. I think this is going to be Justin Fields' last opportunity to prove that he can be the guy in an organization, and he is set up for success going into Kansas City. He is.
There's no reason for him to fail if he has to play at all this year.
Agreed.
This coming year.
Agreed. In the news, Cam Scatterbo, running back of the Giants, he did an interview this past week, and he had mentioned as far as his recovery with his injury, he made a comment saying that he can outrun a baby hippo. Now, if you know how fast a baby hippo can run, they can't run that fast. What does this tell you about Cam Scatterbo and his return in 2026 with the Giants, since he's saying that he can run faster than a baby hippo, but nothing more?
Tells me he's got a sense of humor and he's messing with the media. I love that answer. I love it.
I mean, it would worry me if I'm a Giants fan.
I wouldn't be worried. He's got enough time to recover.
He does, but we are now in March. We are mid-March, okay? April and May, we got the draft coming up, and then May is when those mini camps start. You're going to have the returning players for teams and coaches being able to go into the building, and then about 2 weeks later, your draftees and newer signees are going to be able to go into the building and be with those guys, right? Cam Scatterbo is on the path of returning off a major injury. And at the point he's at now in March, when he got injured in October, I believe it was, he got injured in November, December, January, February, March. It's been 5 months. And you're telling me that he can only run faster than a baby hippo?
I think he's clearly trolling the media. That's all that is. I don't take anything into that comment.
The sense of humor thing, I get it. And I'm for the sense of humor thing. But you're 5 months into an injury that you should start being able to at least jog in your recovery. And I would be a little concerned if I was a Giants fan. If I was a Giants fan, I would be concerned. I would be. Especially after the comments he made weeks ago about, possibly having a streaming career and he could retire today and still make enough money. I'd be a little worried. That's just me. I'm for having the sense of humor. I am, but
I think he'll be fine.
We'll have to see what happens with Cam Scatterbo. John, some signings that have happened in free agency. Number one, quarterback Trey Lance is sticking around in Los Angeles with the Chargers. 1 year, $6.75 million. He's going to back up in Los Angeles again this year. Darnell Mooney, former wide receiver of the Falcons. He is now a New York Giant. So does Darnell Mooney help out that Giants receiving core?
I think he does. I mean, they just lost Rondale Robinson. And I think he'll be a good number 2 for Malik Neighbors, to be honest with you. If he can outplay Darius Slayton for that number 2 spot. I mean, Moody's shown signs that he can play. He's also showed seasons he can't really play. So, I mean, as a 2 or 3, I think it's a good role for him. But ultimately, if he stays healthy, I think it's definitely a good move for them.
Yeah. I think this is a good move for the Giants to go out and get Darnell Mooney. Like you said, they lost Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale's out now. So for him to come in and be that number 2, he's going to be a good sidebar for Malik Neighbors. Take some of that pressure off, because he's able to have good games. Now it's about him working up to having good seasons. So we'll have to see how Darnell Mooney does out in New York. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver of the Titans, has restructured his contract to open up more cap money for the Titans. Now, the Titans went into free agency with, I believe, the first or second most amount of money in cap space, with like $98 million.
I think New England had the most.
They had 9. No, it was Tennessee, and then it was Tennessee, and I forget who else. New England went into last year with the most.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
It was Tennessee. It was Tennessee and Las Vegas who had the most money, battling for the most money going into free agency this year. I believe it was Tennessee with 98, and Las Vegas had like $86 million going into free agency this year. But anyways, Darnell Mooney restructures his contract, opens up about 10, 11 more $1 million. Calvin Ridley. Yeah. And now the Titans have even more money to go spend on free agency.
Brilliant move. Brilliant move. He wants that team to turn around. He wants to be help. He wants to help that team turn around. And I am 100% for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely for it as well. Dallas Goedert, tight end of the Eagles, has re-signed a 1-year, $7 million deal. I think this is a smart part on the Eagles' part to re-sign Dallas Goedert, especially with all the talks right now of the possibilities of trading A.J. Brown. They did just bring in Hollywood Brown today on a 1-year, $6.75 million deal. So do you think the Eagles, in the most part, are heading into the right direction as far as their receiving core, tight end core, or do you think that they should have went and seeked elsewhere for tight ends and wide receivers?
I think Dallas Goedert is crazy for doing what he did. He could have got more money signing with a different team, to be honest with you. 1 year, $7 million. Tight ends were going for more than that in the offseason. So I don't know. He gave the Eagles a hometown discount last year. He gave them a hometown discount this year. Either he really likes Philly or somebody needs to tell him, hey, look at the market and look what your value is.
I mean, actually, I talked about this on the Saturday show that because there's a lot of questions from fans right now online about why are teams doing just these 1-year deals worth, $5, $6, $7, $10, $11 million. When you look at it, the cap space went up this year to try and get a lot of the teams out of cap hell. Okay. Now you see even big name players, they're signing 1-year deals worth this amount of money. Next year, teams are going to get another like $34 million boost in cap space. That's when they'll be able to long-term that player. Okay. That's why you're seeing a lot of 1-year deals. Because I believe, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this. This is me guessing that this is the situation, is they're doing the 1-year deals now, and then when they get that money for next year, they're going to long-term these players that they want to sign long-term. So Dallas Goedert was probably going to get a long-term deal, but now they're going to wait until next year to offer it because more money will be in the cap space. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of 1-year deals going out there right now, even for big name players. It's just all about the amount of money the team is going to give up at this moment because they got to go out and get other players for other positional needs. So I don't think this is so much a discount. I just think it's so much of a, hey, this is what we can give you now, but when we get more money next year, we can long-term you and we can pay you more. And that's for everybody.
He's nuts because he could have made more money signing somewhere else. But
I'll say this.
It's his decision. So
I'll say this. He probably could have went somewhere and got a 2-year deal for $14 million. But the Eagles are probably telling him, look, we'll give you a 2 or 3-year deal next year and we'll pay you more. We just got to wait to get that money because we don't have it right now. So there's probably already a talks going on of him long-terming next year, but they got to have the money available first. If they don't have that money available, then they can't do it. So it's better to just do these 1-year deals this year, and then next year when they get the money, long-term them, pay them more. And I think that's happening all around the league with a lot of these players that are signing these 1-year deals because there's a lot of them. So a couple other signings that have happened. Offensive tackle Charlie Heck has signed with the Dolphins. Safety Andrew Wingard has signed with the Cardinals. Linebacker Sagun Alubi has signed with the Raiders. Juanye Thomas, safety, has signed with the Colts. Tight end Mo Alley Cox has re-signed with the Colts. I believe his deal is also a 1-year deal as well. Linebacker Jack Gibbons has signed with the Patriots. Wide receiver Van Jefferson, he is now a Commander. John, your thoughts on Van Jefferson?
Even want him? He gets hurt all the time. Why would anybody even want him, man?
That was good. That was going to be my question, John. Is your thoughts on Van Jefferson signing with the Commanders?
I think it's a useless signing. He's just probably going to get hurt again. I don't know. I don't get it. Why anybody would sign him?
Oh, they did. As I mentioned earlier, Hollywood Brown signs a $6.5 million deal with the Eagles, 1 year. Running back Ty Chandler signs with the Saints. Cornerback Noah Igbongne signs with the Seahawks. Offensive tackle Austin DeCoulis has signed with the Titans. And that's that for the signings. Actually, no, there is one signing that I wanted to talk to you about, John. And I want to get your thoughts on this. This is why I'm just narrowing down these signings that have happened, because there's a couple more things here that I want to talk about before we get into the big segment for tonight. Carson Tout, Notre Dame basketball player. Okay, his position is forward, and this is official news. This is real. He is planning to sign with the Indianapolis Colts, and they plan on converting him to tight end. Your thoughts about a basketball player converting to tight end?
Worked for Antonio Gates. Like,
it did.
I don't have a problem with trying it. I mean, he obviously has good hands if he's playing basketball. So, hey, why not? Why not? See if it works.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. Cornerback Darius Slay. He has announced that he is going to be retiring from the NFL. He had said earlier this week that the only team that he wanted to sign with was Philadelphia. If any other team offered him, he was declining. He wanted to go back to Philly, but Philly, it seems like they don't want to re-sign him. So Darius Slay has decided to retire. Good luck in your retirement. Enjoy retirement. John, do you think Darius Slay had more playing time in him, or do you think it was time to hang up the cleats?
I think he maybe had a couple more years, but not a lot. So, like you said, just good luck in your retirement.
All right. Tight end David Njoku. He will be visiting the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow. Now, David Njoku, former tight end of the Cleveland Browns, had announced that he was not going to be returning to Cleveland. So now it looks like he is going to be heading out to Baltimore to visit them. Baltimore, they lost Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely is no longer with the team, but they still have Mark Andrews at tight end. Do you think David Njoku is going to have a better go at this in Baltimore if he signs with them? Or do you see David Njoku ending up elsewhere?
If he signs with Baltimore, absolutely. He's going to have a legit quarterback throwing him the ball. He's not going to be the best talent on that offense that can catch the ball. So I could see them running two tight end sets with Andrews and Njoku and doing very well, using Flowers as a decoy. So I think David Njoku could possibly have the best year of his career if he signs with Baltimore.
Yeah, I think, he did a good job out in Cleveland. I know he's had the injury bug hit him a little bit, but him going to Baltimore, I think, would be a vast improvement for him. I mean, not saying that Cleveland was a bad spot to be in, but we know the past couple of years, it just has not been a good place to be in that Cleveland offense, especially with them trying to figure things out. Cleveland defense
had a solid quarterback, except maybe Shedeur Sanders, but the jury's still out on him.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that Cleveland defense, I think they're rearing and ready to go. They have the guys in place. Now it's about getting that offense together. And I think David Njoku was a piece of that puzzle that they are now going to miss. And, let's say they get the offense together, but the tight end position is the piece of the puzzle that's missing. It's like, okay, you let David Njoku walk. Like, now you got to go out and find a tight end to fit that spot. So
I don't even think they need to do that, because Harold Fannin Jr., rookie last year, when Njoku was out, he stepped up and he was putting up great numbers.
He did. I agree.
I think they have a solid young tight end in place, and that's why they were able to let Njoku walk.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what David Njoku decides to do. Whether he signs with the Ravens after visiting them tomorrow, or if he decides to go elsewhere. I mean, you know me, my personal feeling, I would hope to see him in a Philly uniform. I've been saying it since the start of free agency. I know it's not,
especially with them bringing back Goddard. That's not happening.
Yeah, they brought back Goddard. They re-signed Grant Calcaterra too, and Grant Calcaterra is the number 2 tight end. So they also signed a third string tight end. Who originally, I believe, came off the practice squad, and now he's going to be on the 85-man roster for training camp to be able to come that number 3. So, Yeah, wishful thinking, John. Wishful thinking. Last bit of news to talk about, John. And I know this isn't big news, but when I seen the career breakdown of this player, I was like, we have to talk about this for like 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes. Quarterback Josh Johnson. He is signing with the Bengals. Now, Josh Johnson, he started his career out in Tampa Bay in 2008.
On like 15 teams.
Okay. So here is his career breakdown, John. Okay. From 2008 to 2011, he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. In 2012, he was on the 49ers practice squad. Then he went out to Cleveland and was with the Browns. In 2013, he was a Bengal. In 2014, he was on the 49ers. 2015, he went back to Cincinnati on the practice squad. Then he ended up out for the Jets in the practice squad. Then he was with the Colts and then went to the Bills to finish off the 2015 season. In 2016, he was on the Ravens practice squad. Then he finished off out in New York with the Giants. In 2017, he was with the Houston Texans. In 2018, he started off on the practice squad for the Raiders and then ended up with Washington at the end of 2018. He was with the Lions in 2019, started with the 49ers on their practice squad in 2020. Then he went to the Jets in 2021, finished off the year with the Ravens, went to the Broncos in 2022. He finished off the year with the 49ers. And then from 2023 to 2024, he was with the Ravens. 2025, he was with the Commanders. And now he is a Bengal again. So this was his career retrospective, okay? He was in the NFC East, he was with the Giants, the Commanders / Redskins. In the NFC West, he was a 49er. In the North, he was a Lion. And in the South, he was a Buccaneer. In the AFC, in the East, he was a Jet and a Bill. In the West, he was a Raider and a Bronco. In the South, he was a Colt and a Texan. And in the North, he was a Brown, Bengal, and Raven. He has been part of more than half of the league.
It sucked for every one of those teams. Like, I don't like to say that about players.
This
guy can't play. And if the Bengals think this guy is going to replace Jake Browning, given Joe Burrow's recent injury history, they are sadly mistaken. I would have brought back Jake Browning 10 out of 10 times over this guy. This guy's a joke. He's terrible. He shouldn't even be in the league anymore.
Oh, I mean, Jake Browning has found a new home, so they had to find somebody to back up Joe Burrow. Give me a second. I could tell you because I
know he was a free agent. I didn't see where he signed.
Actually, he was not on my top 5. He was not on my top 5 list because I did a top 5 positional list for free agency this year. He ended up with the Buccaneers.
Brilliant backup signing.
Yeah,
I like that move a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did a top 5, my personal top 5 free agents list according to position. And in week 1 of free agency, out of 65 players from my list, 29 of them got signed. Okay. So I refreshed my list and I made a brand new top 5 list for each position for week 2. So I want to see how many players will sign off my list in week 2.
Okay.
So I feel like it's going to calm down a little bit more in week 2. I'm not going to have as many signings, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, all the main big name players for the most part are gone. For the most part. I mean, like Tyreek Hill is still out there. Like for the most part.
So some of the bigger names, I'm going to say names, not so much like I know if I sit here and say Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be like, well, he's kind of washed and everything. I get that, but he's still a big name. Just like Kirk Cousins, Joe Flacco.
Play like he was washed.
Yeah, but I'm just saying some people would say that. You know what I mean? But like some of the bigger names that are on my list, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Joe Flacco. I have Cooper Rush on here. He could be a backup. Skylar Thompson as a backup. Running back, Najee Harris, Kareem Hunt, Joe Mixon, Brian Robinson, Zamir White. Deebo Samuels, Tyreek Hill, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Cooks, Christian Kirk, David Njoku, Zach Ertz. What's that?
Kirk signed with the 49ers.
Kirk Cousins did?
No, Christian Kirk did.
Did he?
Yeah, he signed today. I believe it was a 1-year deal, I think.
Okay, I must have missed that.
I wasn't too thrilled about the signing, but It is what it is.
Okay, yeah, here it is. 1 year, $6 million. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
hey,
he signed with the Niners today, I believe.
first signing off my new list, I guess. Nice. Okay. I mean, it's nice for my list because it starts off with a signing, but that's new news to me. I didn't see that. Oh, all right. But yeah, that's it for the news and free agency so far this week. I know we're gonna get more coming this week, but yeah. We're going to take about 30 seconds. When we get back, we're going to do a very special segment. We're going to give you guys our top 5 list of teams we thought did best in free agency and the teams that we thought did worse. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this. So make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub Podcast on social media after the show today. Make sure you're hitting that follow button over on X, TikTok, and now Instagram. You can hit that follow button on the YouTube. You can hit subscribe. That's how you follow. Make sure you're following over on the Twitch channel, as all of our social media links are in the bio of the Twitch channel. You click on the one that you desire to go to and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the rest of the NFL free agency and offseason and beyond. So 1 year anniversary, John. I can't get over it, man. I can't believe we're at the 1 year. We're going into year number 2, man. Right. It's crazy. All right, so John, we got a fun segment put together. This was your suggestion, man. Hats off, man.
It'd be a fun thing to do during free agency.
Yeah, this is a great suggestion. I love this idea. When you brought this idea to my attention, I was like, I had plans of doing this on the weekend show on Saturday, but not as in depth as we're doing it tonight. So, I mean, this was a great suggestion. I love it. And I did announce on the weekend show that we are going to do this for the next couple weeks leading up to doing our mock drafts and getting ready for the draft as well. So this is just week 1. This is version 1 of basically 3 or 4 versions of doing this. So how we're going to do this is we're going to give our top 5 list of the top 5, our top 5 teams in free agency and our bottom 5 teams in free agency. So how we're going to do this first is we're going to give our list from 1 through 5 on top, and then we'll do our bottom list. But how we're going to do this is because we're going to cut this as a short for social media. We'll give our list first, and then we'll get into explaining why we picked those teams. So let me get set up here for a second. And John, we got to decide who's going to go first, me or you?
You can, since it was my idea.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you can. Why not?
All right. So we're going to start off with our top teams first. Okay. So what I'll do is the introduction. I'll do my top 5, and then you'll do your top 5, and then we'll do bottom. That's how we'll do it. Okay. All right. So here are our top teams in free agency in week 1. I got the Steelers, the Bears, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Raiders. John, who were your top teams in week 1 in free agency?
All right. Coming in at number 1, the New York Jets. Number 2, the Tennessee Titans. Number 3, the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 4, the Carolina Panthers. And rounding up that 5th spot, the Buffalo Bills.
All right, so that was top, and then we'll do 39 through 40. Okay, bottom. All right. Here are our bottom teams in week 1 of free agency. The Dolphins, Packers, Lions, Jets, and Seahawks. John, who were your bottom teams in week 1 of free agency?
Okay, since we're doing the bottom, I'm going to start with number 5 and then go to the worst team. So at number 5, this came down between two teams, but I went with the Philadelphia Eagles at number 5. Number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. Number 3, the Cleveland Browns. Number 2, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the team that I think it is the worst team in free agency, at least in week 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, John. So we are going to talk about our lists in free agency, starting off with our bottom list. John, you picked the Philadelphia Eagles as your number 5 team on the bottom. Why is it that you picked the Philadelphia Eagles as your number 5 team?
Like I said, this came down between two teams. Kind of like a 5A, 5B. 5B was the Seattle Seahawks, but I went with 5A, the Eagles, because I feel like they lost a lot more than they added. They were 22nd in run defense. They lost Jalen Phillips. They lost N'Kobe Dean. And then in the secondary, they lost Reed Blankenship. I just felt, like I said, that they just lost more than they added, especially on that defensive side.
All right. I took the Seahawks as my number 5 team because I see them letting go of some of the core players like a Kenneth Walker, like a Reek Wallen. There's a lot of guys that were there that made an impact for the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl 60 teams that just left in free agency. This is why I sit here and say right now, I do not feel like the Seahawks are going to be a team that repeats. Do I see them going into the playoffs? Yeah, I see the Seahawks being a playoff team. Do I see them winning a division right now? No. Do I see them repeating and making the Super Bowl again? No. And do I see them raising the Lombardi Trophy again? No. I see them letting go a lot of those core players that helped them get to where they got to in 2025, and I don't see Seattle doing the same thing they did in 2024. John, you picked the Falcons as your number 4 team. Why so?
Just like the Eagles, I feel like the Falcons lost way more than they added. I mean, just in defense alone last year, they were 24th in the run defense. They lost David Onyemata. They also lost their backup running back, Tyler Algier. I think that's going to hurt them because of that 1-2 punch. And like I said, I just feel like they lost more than they added. They added Tua, but I mean, let's be honest, it's Tua Tagovailoa. I know I butchered up that last name, but yeah, I think right now the Falcons are not in a good place.
I took the Jets at number 4. Now, when you look at the Jets in free agency, they are building up their defense. They are doing a pretty good job at doing so. They aren't focusing so much on their offensive side of the ball, which I think needed to be a big focus for the New York Jets this offseason. We've seen the Jets build a really good defense before and have had a really bad season with that good defense. 2025, not one interception made by any of the defensive backs, linebackers, anybody. They had 0 interceptions this season. In 2024, had arguably one of the best defensive lineups and still did not do anything as a team. We've seen the Jets do this before, build a defense, but did not focus on that offense, and that is why the Jets are on a bottom list instead of a top list for me. John, you took the Browns at number 3. Why'd you take the Browns?
I mean, last year they were 30th in offense, and they basically lost their entire offensive line except Elgin Jenkins, who they re-signed. They did trade for Titus Howard, but they still have to rebuild that O-line. And they lost David Njoku, who still hasn't found a home yet, as we said earlier, and they still haven't replaced linebacker Devin Bush. So again, this is just a case of they lost a lot more than they gained. Plus, I think having to rebuild that O-line is really going to hurt them.
I took the Lions at number 3 for one big reason, and that is David Montgomery. Okay, so they brought in Isaiah Pacheco to replace David Montgomery, but I don't think you can replace a David Montgomery even with an Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco's coming off a year of an injury. David Montgomery going away and taking away that 1-2 punch of him and Jahmyr Gibbs, I think is going to hurt that Detroit offense tremendously. I know they see something in Isaiah Pacheco, but I'll say this. Yeah, he had the number 1 spot in Kansas City, but he is not going to produce in Detroit like he did in Kansas City, especially with the Jahmyr Gibbs being there. I still think the workload is going to be put on Jahmyr Gibbs, and Isaiah Pacheco is going to be that, third down guy, and he's not going to do half of what David Montgomery was able to do for that offense. So, John, you took Tampa Bay at number 2. Why Tampa at number 2?
Well, I didn't really see them filling any of their needs. Like, they were 27th in pass defense. I didn't really see them do anything that great to help there. They were 20th in pass offense. Granted, some of that was due to injuries because their top 3 receivers were hurt at the same time. But guess what? You just lost Mike Evans, Mr. Buccaneer, to the 49ers. You lose Jamel Dean. Again, 27th in pass defense. I feel like there's a lot of question marks going into this team, going into this season, and their young receivers, Emeka Egbuka and Jalen McMillan, they're really going to have to step up and not get hurt. So we're going to see just how much they're going to miss Mike Evans, especially with Chris Goodwin. He's been getting hurt too the last couple of years. So I feel like losing Evans is a big, big loss for them.
I put the Packers at number 2 for pretty much the same reason I put Seattle on this list, and that was letting core guys go. Last year, midseason, you traded away Kenny Clark. Yes, you brought in Micah Parsons. Parsons goes down with an injury. You got to rely on your defense to be carried by Rashawn Gary. Now you traded away Rashawn Gary. We didn't get to see a full season of a Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary running that Packer defense together. On top of that, you're letting some of your offensive players go. I believe they let go of like 2 key receivers that they didn't bring back. I feel like the Packers should have been trying to make a step forward. Instead, they're making a step back. 3 seasons in a row, they become the 7th seed in the playoffs. They get eliminated in the first round the last 2 years. In year 1, they beat the Cowboys in the wild card round and got past and got to the divisional round. But the last 2 years, eliminated in the wild card round at the 7th seed. The Packers, I believe, took a tremendous step back with the moves they made in the past 8 months. And I don't see the Packers doing any better this season if they don't start making moves that they should be making to build this team back up to where it should be. Because Kenny Clark being gone, Rashawn Gary being gone, Micah Parsons coming off the injury, this Packer defense is going to be very questionable after starting off the 2025 season as one of the best defenses and now taking this step back and letting these guys go. The Packers are hurting right now, I think, and not in the position they need to be in. So, John, you took the Jaguars as number 1 on your bottom list. Why?
That's because they did not fill any needs. They have had a terrible free agency. I'm going to start it out like this. Last year, they were 21st in pass defense. Okay. How do we start free agency? You lose linebacker Devin Lloyd, cornerback Greg Newsome, and safety Andrew Wingard. Okay, how's that going to help that 21st pass defense? On top of that, you lose your star running back, Travis Etienne, and sign Chris Rodriguez Jr. from the Commanders. Now, nothing against Chris Rodriguez. He had a career year last year for them, the best year of his career, and someone was going to sign him. So, but let's be honest, he's not going to be able to fill the role Travis Etienne did. That's going to hurt their running game. They don't have Tank Bigsby anymore. And like I said, they did nothing to improve their weakest area, their pass defense. I don't see Jacksonville. They didn't do anything in free agency. So to me, I don't think they're going to win their division again. It's going to be a struggle for them this year. And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to really have to show up for that team on offense and really lead that team if they're going to have success. But I picked the Jaguars because, like I said, they really didn't fill any of their holes.
I picked the Dolphins as my number one on this list, and I think that's pretty obvious. You look at the direction the Dolphins are going in. They just traded away Jalen Waddle. Tua Tagovailoa is gone, and Malik Willis is the guy now. They're going to rely on Devon Achane as their running back, obviously, but he's going to be their carrier. I don't know. I mean, the Dolphins' offensive line has been sketchy since last year. The receiving core is just not looking like it's in a good place. This is not a good start to a rebuild. Let's just say that. They have taken more steps back than they needed to forward, and they are right now looking over the edge of a mountain, ready to fall off because they are not climbing from the bottom of that mountain to the top from rebuilding. They just keep digging a hole deeper down, and that is why the Dolphins are number one on my list. They are not off to a great start in this rebuild.
I want to piggyback off of that for a second. The reason the Dolphins aren't on my list is because I gave them a pass because it's well known that they're rebuilding. So I gave them a pass for being on my least improved. Otherwise, they probably would have been my number one, but because of the fact that they've made it known that they're rebuilding, I gave them a pass this year.
Well, I was going to ask you before we get into the top list, if you had to challenge one of the teams on my list, what team would it be? Would it be the Dolphins, Packers, Lions, Jets, or Seahawks?
I'm going to go with the... You know what? I think I'm going to go with the Packers because I think they're going to be just fine this year. I think they're going to be still contending for the North. They still have Jordan Love. They still have Josh Jacobs. They still have Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden at wide receiver. Yeah, they lost Romeo Dobbs and they lost somebody else, but they still have their core receivers. They still have Tucker Kraft, provided he doesn't get hurt again. I think the Packers will be just fine. I'm not going to say they're going to win their division because they still have the Bears to contend with. And we don't know what the Lions are going to be like this year without David Montgomery. But I think they're still going to be a playoff contender.
The team I'm challenging on your list is the Browns. I'm challenging the Browns. Because number one, we already know what position this Browns offense is in. Yes, the whole offensive line became free agents. They re-signed one of the five guys. But then you look at the production of the other positions like quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, and we know that they need to build on that. So I feel like the Browns offense has already been torn down, and they really haven't made any steps forward in free agency, or haven't even really made any attempts to take steps in free agency moving forward with their offense. Their defense is built. As I say, that defense is ready to go. It's just all about the offense going. But this Browns offense has been like this since the beginning of the 2025 season. I think the Browns are taking the formula of teams like the Bears, stripping down their offensive line and rebuilding the same way that the Bears did. But the thing is now they got to go out and find that quarterback. Is Shedeur Sanders the starting quarterback in Cleveland? Most likely. Most likely Shedeur Sanders is the starter. He has showed some real promise the back end of 2025. But now it's about who's going to come in and be your receiving core. Who's going to be your guys? Who's going to be your tight end now that David Njoku's out? Who's going to be your running back now that you don't have, Jerome Ford? And there's a lot of questions on that Browns offense.
Well, that's going to be Quinn. That's going to be Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, well, Quinshon Judkins is the guy. Yeah,
he's solidified at that.
But I think the Browns were already at the point where they aren't taking any steps back, but not taking any steps forward. I think they're stagnant, and that's why I challenged that list, because of the fact that I think they're ready to make the steps that like the Bears did with their offensive line. That's what I mean. I know I have the Dolphins on my list. I think the Dolphins were more noticeable because of the fact we knew the Dolphins were going to rebuild. But it's like now you traded away your core receiver, who was left on your roster. We knew you were releasing Tua, but you brought in an unproven quarterback and gave him a big contract, three years, $24.75 million. You paid him. He's your guy, and he's unproven. I think the Dolphins took more steps back in this rebuild than they did try and even make forward.
Well, somebody's got to compete with the Jets for the worst team in the division.
Yeah,
we got two teams competing for the best. We might as well have two teams competing for the worst.
Yeah. All right. All right, John, let's get into our top 5 teams in free agency week 1, starting off with the team that's number 5 on your list, the Bills. John, why'd you take the Buffalo Bills as your number 5 team as the top team?
I mean, this was kind of hard for me to find a fifth team because there were a lot of teams that I felt like could have been number 5, but I went with the Buffalo Bills just because they filled the needs that they needed. Like they were in the middle of the pack for pass offense. They needed a true number 1 receiver. They went out and traded for DJ Moore of Chicago. I love it. I love it. They were the 28th run defense last year. They bring in edge rusher Bradley Chubb to help with that, and he can get at the quarterback for quarterback pressure. And they also brought in cornerback D. Alford as well to help their defense. I think Buffalo did just enough to fill their needs to be number 5 on my list.
Now, John, my number 5 team we do have on this list as the same, so I'm going to save that team for last to talk about. So I'm going to skip to my number 4 team, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. So far, the Dallas Cowboys, they are making moves and spending money. The exact thing that Jerry Jones said they were going to do in free agency. Every time Jerry Jones says something, he seems to do the opposite. He seems to do the opposite of everything he says. Before free agency kicked off, he said, we are going to spend money, we are going to build this team, and we are going to make big moves in free agency. You went out and traded for Rashawn Gary. You went out and put the salary cap hit or the franchise tag on George Pickens. You are making moves and spending money, like you said. Hats off to the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones for doing exactly what they said. John, with that being said, number 4, the Panthers is on your list. Why did you put the Panthers on your list at 4?
It's just like the Buffalo Bills. They had a mid defense. That was, to me, their biggest hole, and they filled it. They brought in edge rusher Jalen Phillips and linebacker Devin Lloyd. They are taking the steps to build this defense to get them past the 8-9 mark and to give them an over 500 record. They're building up the defense to basically try to repeat as the South champions and make the playoffs. They're going the right steps. They filled their holes. That's why they're number 4.
All right. My number 3 team, again, skipping over because my 5 team is the same as your number 3. So I'm going to skip over to my number 3 and we'll go right to your number 2. First off, Drips in the chat. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here at the Huddle Hub podcast. Thank you so much. The New York Giants is my number 3 team on my list. They're building their defense. I love the addition of Tremaine Edmonds. I do. I love the addition of Tremaine Edmonds. Why? Because he's going to be able to help out that linebacking core with Brian Burns. Brian Burns coming in a trade last year. We've seen the Giants defense take some step forwards last year. The offense obviously took some steps forward as well with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatteraboo. Tyrone Tracy didn't have too bad of a year. Malik Neighbors, before he got injured, was having a pretty decent season. The Giants were taking those steps forward. Now they add Tremaine Edmonds to the mix of that linebacking core. I like this move for the Giants, and this is one of the big reasons why I put the Giants on my list. John, you have the Tennessee Titans on your list. Why the Titans?
That's number 2. Why? Because the Titans, I feel, added a lot of key pieces that could be contributing. I'm going to start mainly on offense because they were 31st in the league on offense. They were 30th in the league in passing. They had Rondale Robinson to go with Calvin Ridley. That's going to be a great 1-2 punch. And to help that defense, they bring in John Franklin Myers, who people thought were going to go with the 49ers. But at the last second, pivoted, went with Tennessee. Bring in Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott at cornerback to secure their secondary. I love the move the Titans are making, and I feel like this is really going to help move their win total up past 3. They're making the steps they need to make, and they're moving forward.
All right. I have the Bears as my number 2. I'm just going to say this right now. They are going out to getting the players for their position as needed. Okay. The Bears, they took a significant step forward in 2025, and I think they are taking some small, significant steps forward for 2026. And I think we are going to see a better Bears team in 2026 than we've seen in 2025. John, you had the Jets on this list. Why the Jets?
Because I don't think any team has made a bigger splash in free agency than the Jets did. They filled all their needs. They did the best they possibly could to fill their needs. They had the 25th defense last year. So what do? Trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Bring in David Onyemata. Bring in Demario Davis. Bring in Joseph Asai to secure your linebackers, your edge rushers, and get a good secondary safety. You need help at quarterback. What do? You bring back Geno Smith. Is this going to be the same Geno Smith we saw in Seattle? I don't know. But let's be honest. Other than Aaron Rodgers, they haven't had a solid quarterback since Geno Smith. And that's not saying Geno Smith did a great job as the Jets quarterback. He only lasted 3 years with the team. That's just saying the other quarterbacks, they were not very good. So I like them bringing Geno back. A low-cost trade to at least put a Band-Aid or put something there until they get their quarterback of the future from the draft or wherever they get their quarterback from. Because let's be honest, I feel Brady Cook, he looked like a deer in headlights. He is not going to be the guy there in New York. He's not their future quarterback. Bringing in Geno at least puts a Band-Aid on it for at least this year until they can figure out what they're going to do, or if they already have a plan, until they implement it and get the young rookie they draft ready. So I went with the Jets because I feel like they really, really outdid themselves with who they brought in.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are on my list at the top because of one reason, and that is Michael Pittman Jr. I loved this trade for them. Michael Pittman Jr. is going to do one thing, and that is take a lot of the weight off of DK Metcalf's shoulders. He is going to help even out the offense in Pittsburgh. I know there's questions of who's the quarterback, who's going to be the guy under center. Is it going to be Will Howard? Is Aaron Rodgers going to come back? Are they going to draft a guy? Are they going to pick somebody up off of free agency? Who knows what's going to happen at quarterback? Right now, I don't think that's much of the matter. They have DK Metcalf. They have Michael Pittman Jr., Pat Freiermuth at tight end. They have Jaylen Warren in the backfield at running back. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense, I think, looks a lot better than people think they do. And Michael Pittman Jr. in that addition is going to do really good things for Pittsburgh this year. He's going to produce, and whoever's at quarterback has a good receiving core they're walking into. So, hats off to the Steelers for making that move and getting Michael Pittman Jr. John, the final team to talk about is the Las Vegas Raiders, the only team that is on our list together at the same spot, because I had the Jets on my bottom. You have them on the top. We both have the Raiders on the top. So, John, why do you have the Raiders on top?
Because they are setting up their team for the future. They had a mid defense last year. It was the middle of the pack. So what do they do to try to get in that upper half? You bring in Quay Walker, Arian Johnson, and Nakobe Dean. The offense, they had the 32nd offense in the league. Okay. What do? Get rid of Geno Smith. He was doo-doo for them. You bring in Tyler Linderbaum, one of the best centers in the league, to help protect. We all know it's going to be Fernando Mendoza, to help protect your rookie quarterback. You bring in receiver Jalen Naylor. He was never the guy in Minnesota because they have Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, but he's shown flashes that he could be the guy somewhere else. So I love him finally getting the chance to show what he can do. I feel like they're really building for the future. They're really trying to make those steps forward. And I think they're heading in the right direction. I really like their moves. That's why I have the Raiders at number 3.
Yeah, I have them on my list because they built their defense. They built their defense in free agency, and they were able to spend money doing it. Yeah, a lot of question is why Nakobe Dean for the small price that they got him at? Because Nakobe Dean still has to live up to that first round pick. He still needs to live up to that. Did he do it in Philadelphia? To a slight extent. He dealt with injuries in Philadelphia. He's still got to live up to that. He could still earn bigger paychecks in the future. He's a young player who has a lot of time left in this league. So we can end up seeing Nakobe Dean, if he does do so, live up to that expectation, get more money. But right now, he's earning what he's earning because of the fact of still having to prove. You look at this Raiders defense right now, and on paper, it looks like a top 10 defense. It does. And it could end up being. They played it smart this year in free agency, going out and building their defense. They brought in a couple offensive guys, especially on the offensive line, as you mentioned. Now they're going to go out and get their quarterback. And it would not surprise me if we see more big moves by the Raiders going into week 2 of free agency and picking up players. There's a lot of receivers out there. Deebo Samuels, who can go out and be that Swiss Army knife of a player coming out of the backfield, playing on the offensive line at the tight end position, being a wide receiver, playing both inside and outside. You got Tyreek Hill, who, let's face it, he's slowed down a little bit, but he's still a fast guy. He's the cheetah for a reason. He could go out and make big plays. So there's still some room for the Raiders to fill in, and I think the Raiders are doing everything right in free agency. And that's why I would have to say the Raiders should be on anybody's list in this top 5. It should be on everybody's list in a top 5.
I agree. Like, I'm really excited to see Taron Johnson and Eric Stokes in that backfield at the same time. I think that's going to be one heck of a duo that I know I would not want to throw against.
So, John, if you had to challenge a team on my top list, who would it be? Steelers, Bears, Giants, Cowboys. We both have the Raiders, so Steelers, Bears, Giants, or Cowboys.
Oh, that's easy. The Steelers. I feel like you bring in one guy and you're number one. I feel like you need to do more. That's just one guy. That's why they're not even in my top 5. All they did was really bring in one receiver, and it's like, to me, that doesn't justify being the top.
My challenge is the Jets.
Okay.
Again, like I said, we've seen this before. We've seen this before from them of building a great defense, but it not live up to its expectations. They're not focusing on their offense very much at all. They trade away their starting quarterback in Justin Fields to the Kansas City Chiefs. They get a 6th round pick in 2027 for him. And now you're bringing back Geno Smith, who has had a not so long stint, and looking at his statistics, a little over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a little over 80% in rating and passing. Do I see Geno Smith being the guy in New York? Maybe. But I think their big focus point should be getting a quarterback in there to sit behind him and learn. Expect the Jets to have a bad season again this year, Jets fans. But Geno Smith teaching this said young quarterback, and make sure you're going out and seeing who's going to be available to come in for 2027. If I was the New York Jets, I would start focusing on 2027 already. I would start focusing on 2027, who's going to be available for you to go out and get, because it's getting to be crunch time. We're getting into the draft. Free agency is going to go by faster than anything. And whoever's left on that free agent list is going to be left there for the picking to bring in and fill in your spots, and may not produce the way you want them to. I don't see the New York Jets doing much of anything in 2026, especially if they don't work on that offense. And again, the defense building, we've seen this before. We've seen it. And you need an offense. You can't just rely on that defense. So there's our top 5 list for week 1 of free agency. We'll be back next week with list number 2. All right. Well, that's that for that. Week 1, top 5, bottom 5 free agent lists. Great show tonight, John. Awesome show. Fun show.
Great show.
And we'll do list number 2 next Tuesday night. John, with that being said, your social medias are on the bottom. What do you want to let the people know? What do you got going on? You got anything going on?
I don't have anything going on, but I will have something going on soon. Got
All right.
WWE 2K26 last week on pre-release, and I've been working on getting to the point where I can start getting it up and streaming.
Awesome deal. Well, make sure you're going and following John on social media, and make sure you're checking out when he gets back to streaming, and go check out his stream. Fun streams to be a part of, especially when he does Dead by Daylight. He's going to start up the WWE stuff. Go check out his YouTube channel right now as well. He's got some recorded content up there. And also on the Huddle Hub podcast, he's got the recorded content for our video game content up there as well. So go check that stuff out, and make sure you're following John on social media. Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat is where you can find me, Metal Mike 714. Drips, I see you in the chat talking about Discord. You can add me on the Discord, Metal Mike 714. That's where you can find me on Discord as well if you want to add me. We don't have a Discord yet for the Huddle Hub podcast. That's another thing that's kind of in the works and the plans to add into the social media list. But right now we don't have the Discord at the moment. But if you want to add me on Discord, Metal Mike 714 is where you can get me on Discord. As far as the Huddle Hub podcast, again, you can follow us on social media on X, Instagram, and TikTok. You're going to follow on the YouTube. You're going to subscribe, and on the Twitch channel, you're going to hit that follow button as well. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. Click on the one you desire to go to and help us build the Huddle Hub podcast through the rest of the NFL offseason and beyond. With that being said, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We will see you guys on the Saturday edition. I'll see you guys on the Saturday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then me and John will be back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. See you guys on Saturday. Deuces.